Hello, and welcome to this tutorial where I'm going to show you how to build a minimal sample in Gatsby using Oracle Content Management as a headless CMS. My name is Peter Zhu, and I'm a developer at Oracle working on the Content Management headless samples. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is clone the repository in Github. This is the Gatsby minimal sample that is already set up to use Oracle Content Management. The code on Github is available for you to contribute to and to give feedback on. Let's go ahead and clone this repository from GitHub. Open a command prompt and do a git clone of the URL. After it's done cloning, let's change into the newly created directory. Open up the sample with the code editor of your choice. I will be using Visual Studio Code. The next step is to install dependencies of this project by running npm install in the terminal. While that is running, let's take a look at some of the files inside of this sample. First, let's look at the package.json file, which has all the scripts to build and run the sample. You also have all the dependencies of the sample listed here. It uses the Gatsby source OCE plugin in particular, which supports importing data from an Oracle Content Management service into a Gatsby application. Let's look at the .env file, which is the configuration file. We use environment variables to store configuration information about the Oracle Content Management server. The server listed in the server URL is a public Oracle Content Management server. The channel token is what will be used to authenticate into our Oracle Content Management instance. A proxy URL may be needed depending on what data you need to access, and you can define that here, but we won't be needing it for this tutorial. As you can see in the terminal, the dependencies have been downloaded. So let's fire up a build by running the command npm run build. What this does is compiles the application and makes it ready for deployment. As you can see from the package.json file, this is going to call Gatsby build, which builds the minimal site. It connects with the Gatsby source OCE plugin and populates all the data from the server needed into the local cache. In particular, the images are placed under the folder public/content server. Once this is done, let's spin up a local server by running the command npm run serve. What this does is serves the production build for testing. You can now open localhost 9000 to see the application. Alternatively, we can call npm run develop to see a development site. So let's go over to our browser here and see the sample in action. As you can see, here's our headless Gatsby minimal sample homepage, which contains the header, a footer, and a list of pages in the navigation bar. All of this content resides on the content server. For this sample, we are using an asset type called minimal main as the main content type. This content type consists of a header and footer logos, a list of pages that should be included in the navigation, and the page of the asset type minimal page. Minimal page, in turn, contains a list of content items that are of the type minimal section. Let's go ahead and take a look at the code which is making all of this possible. The src folder contains all of the source code for the application. Let's start with Gatsby node.js. This is the main starting point of the minimal site. At first, all the data is queried from the local cache, which was populated using the Gatsby source OCE plugin. The data is then processed to route the correct information to the correct page, and the create page function at the end is called to make the said page using a page template. Because the sample updates with changes in the Oracle Content Management instance, the create page function is used with a page template since the application does not know what pages and sections will be needed until it has retrieved and examined the data from the server. Ordinary pages can be created from the \pages folder under src because they are predefined information that will always be in the cache. Now let's look at the page template file located under Templates. Here you will find all the sections possible for each page, which are a banner with a button, and a main body for the text. Depending on the data for each section in the Oracle Content Management instance, this code will dynamically create that corresponding page. Notice how there's a header and a footer added to all of the pages. The last bit of code to show is each of the components. Each component, which is a banner, footer, header, and main body, have some attributes that are populated in the page template to create that site. For example, in the banner, we have an image, title, text, and button, which are put in this HTML code here. The footer has an image, the header has an image and a drop-down menu, and the main body just has some text and a title. Let's revisit the minimal main sample in the browser once again. The initial query in Gatsby node.js fetches the content item of type minimal main, which has the header data, the footer data, and a list of pages. As you can see, here's the home page that is being rendered from the process data. We pass in the header image, the header navbar, and a banner with the title and text, as seen here, and a main body, as seen here, and a footer image, which are all processed with a page template to create this minimal site. For the Contact Us page, a very similar process is followed. A banner with a button, a main body, followed by another main body. Of course, with a header navbar, and a footer as well. That's it from my end. Thank you for watching this video about how you can use Gatsby in conjunction with Oracle Content Management as a headless content management system to build and implement a minimal application. The Oracle Content Management documentation contains all the information regarding this sample as we covered in this video. You can find samples like this on our headless Oracle Content Management documentation pages. Thanks and have fun building.